learn pet care and live a stress-free life. So pets really help us to de-stress also. It's not that we only de-stress the pets. So pets have got something really amazing which help us to connect. And over here, I can give you my personal example where every time my dog senses something is not there, she will just come and stick to me, and I forget that I was in a stress because she's such a safe person to be with that my nervous system really relaxes with her being around. So today I'm going to introduce to you a beautiful soul that is Aarti Desai. And she's going to be carrying us through this topic because I'm not an expert at this topic, and she is. And what better than to ask an expert about what is going on in there? And because they've studied so much more than I have. And that's my opportunity to learn all along with you guys. So today we are on this beautiful platform of Get Set Up, and I, Dr. Anu Mehta, will be along with Aarti Desai presenting to you this topic for the next 1 hour. And Agam is our TA who will be holding the group together. So deep acknowledgement for Agam as well as Aarti and for each and every one of you here. Get Set Up is a beautiful platform that helps us to connect together. It also helps us to sing, dance, cookbook. I don't know how many things Get Set Up is doing. But whatever they are doing is so empowering. And we see every day you all getting empowered with the empowerment that is coming along. So I really want to acknowledge over here Get Set Up for what they are doing. Let me introduce to you my guest speaker, Aarti Desai. She is an animal communicator. And what does that mean? She will explain that to you. She's a holistic animal healer. She's a sound healer for pets. So you guys have seen me doing sound healing. She does something even more magical for the pets, for the people who can't even give back their feedback. And she's also a bug flower trainer, and we did get bug flowers and a lot of information around bug flowers from Aarti. Again, this is not her first session. She has done, we have been calling her every month, and we've done at least 2 sessions with her per month. So this must be her 6th or 7th session right now. So you can go back and refer to or ask someone what she did in the sessions before. Today's objective is to learn good pet care to overcome your anxiety and fear of pets, because that's such a big one. And I also had that you know, इतना डर लगता है उनसे, ऐसे लगता है कि वो आपके ऊपर चढ़ जाएंगे, कुछ आपको कर देंगे, that our fear brings about a distance between us and the pet. You also will enjoy your time with your pet after this far more. The points that we're going to cover today are basic necessities of our pets, physical care, emotional care, how are both interrelated, stress in animals and its effect on their behavior, and a little bit around the senior pets. So I'm going to take this off completely and ask Aarti to show herself, and that's our beautiful Aarti, an amazing Aarti. So Aarti, if you can directly take on to the topics that we are going to be discussing, and what do you mean by good pet care? Thank you so much.
So we have to understand, when I'm talking about good pet care, what is the most essential thing? As we've seen, we've spoken already a lot about certain things in the past episodes. First, most important thing is the diet, which we've really spoken very detailed on what is diet. But we have to make sure we give them species appropriate diet. When the diet is not complete, then there has an impact on the emotional and the physical well-being. Then we have to also take care of the medical needs. If an animal is not well, it is their right to have medical needs. So correcting, if there is a behavioral issue that we notice in an animal, the first prime thing that you need to see if there is a medical issue that's running in the animal. a checkup with a vet, like simple thing like, the animal just urinating in different places. And your pet parent might think that, the animal, something is wrong with the behavior. But before I pointing a finger at the behavior of the urinating, first is a medical issue that need to check. Because it's very common when an animal has UTI or kidney stones, they will be urinating in places. Plus, there will be a change in the behavior also. They might become moody, they might be aggressive because the animal is going through a physical pain and physical stress as well as an emotional stress. So these are the three important things that we need to take care of. Another thing that we need to take care of, giving them the right amount of space, not caging them and giving them space, because that also has an impact on the physical and mental. When we're going to be speaking further, we will speak about the emotional issues these things impact, but these impact on the physical as well as the emotional well-being of an animal. The right exercise, the right food, the right diet has an effect on the animals and the animal's environment. What is happening in environment, the pet parents, what's happening with the pet parents in the environment has a huge impact how the animal's behavior is going to be portrayed outside. And then when an animal goes through a behavior or an emotion for a very long time, that's where the chronic stress starts happening.
So when we were the voices, I'm just going to mute you, Aarti, and then unmute yourself. So Aarti, it feels like that. So what you're saying, and I have experienced this, that my dog was urinating all over the place. And yes, we suddenly, because she was toilet trained, and we thought, what's happened to her? Why is she doing this? And why is she going around? And so correctly, Aarti, you pointed out that the dog can also have UTI. So would you give us a little bit more elaboration as to what could have created that? Why the behavior change? How can we really know this is a behavior change, or this is, just something to do with the dog like urinating all over the place? Thank you.
If your animal is trained already and if he is showing a physical symptom which is not normal, it's always better to check with a vet. UTI is very common because of now we know the weather is really hot, the water intake is not good. We know the reasons why UTI happens in a human. It's a similar way why UTI happens to an animal also. So there is no difference in the reason why the disease is happening. But yes, the impact of the human's emotion, the animal could be mirroring the human also. That is an added aspect that comes into picture when we are talking about animals and physical issues. So if there is something happening in the environment, then the animal pick it up from the pet parent. If the pet parent is going through something, they will mirror the health issues which the human is having.
Wow, isn't that amazing that it feels like that the pets know you better than you know yourself, and they could be a reflection of what is happening in you. And when a pet is showing certain symptoms, we need to look at ourselves. At this point, I will ask people if they have any question before we go further, because this is a physical change that happens, often mistaken as a behavioral change. We also thought ki what has happened, isko kya ho gaya, achhi bali thi, why is she doing susu all over the place? And it's only when we took her to the doctor, we realized that poor girl, she has got UTI and she's not able to hold herself together, and we need to be more kind to her, more loving towards her at this point. Anybody who's got a question so far? Anything that you want to ask? Okay, Aarti, let's go to the emotional care that we can give our dog. Thank you so much.
So we need to understand we all are emotional beings. Whenever there is a physical issue, there is an emotional reason behind it. So once we start understanding that the physiology of a human being or an animal is affected by the emotion, Now, emotions like anger, emotions like sadness, or even emotion like overwhelm, these have an impact on the animal as well as a human. So the animals are no different from us. Once we start seeing them from those same glasses, what we experience in a situation, we will be able to understand animals in a much better way. Now, for example, there is a change in the environment, you're shifting houses. And there are animals who might not be as a personality. We have to understand each animal has a personality. What we do mistakes with animals, we put them into a box. We feel all dogs are same, all cats are same. So we label them into and we judge them. You know, cats are supposed to behave like this and dogs are supposed to behave like that. But every dog and every animal has a unique personality of their own. So some animal might say that I'm okay with changes. Same like some humans, they're okay with changes, they can adapt to a change very quickly. But some animals might be very sensitive to change. Now, if an animal is again and again subjected to a change in environment, change in environment could be change of animals getting abandoned, they're changing houses, they're not getting adopted, or their pet parents are in and out of the house. So there's a lot of changes in the environment. In general, the animals learn to adapt, but if it's a sensitive animal and he's going through these kind of changes again and again, we have to understand we have a nervous system. The animals also have a nervous system, and their nervous system is our nervous system, and their nervous system is responsible for giving us the reactions that we do. Now, when we are subjected to a certain kind of emotion again and again, the nervous system takes that emotion and retains it inside itself. And now that becomes the way of living. That's how the chronic stress starts affecting. We already know the chronic stress affects the behavior, we know it affects the physiology. But we also need to know that it also connects with the gut, because our vagus nerve is connected with the entire system. It's a similar thing in the animal. So whenever there is digestive issues in animals, you will first see changes in the digestive, loose motions, constipation. That's what when we'll be talking about senior pets, what we need to do about senior pets. Because because when we are again and again experiencing stressful situation, we will be going through our body, our physiology, our gut, everything will be going through a change. So diet again plays an important role over here. Anu, you're muted.
ऐसे लगता है आरती जैसे you're not talking about animals but talking about human beings. It feels as if we've been categorizing this as an animal and this is a human being. But there seems to be an interrelation or interconnection between an animal as well as a human being. Is it possible for you to tell us more about interconnection on two levels? One is at the physical level and emotional level. How are the things interconnected? And secondly, this whole thing about how human beings and animals are kind of similar in their persona, or every human being has a different personality. If we also get stressed out, we also stop eating properly, we get loose motions, we get constipation. It was even shown in one of the very interesting movies where Amitabh Bachchan was there and played an old man, and he speaks about emotional constipation and loose motion. So if you can throw some light on these two areas of interconnection, that would be brilliant. And guys, if you have any question, just put it down in the chat and I can ask that. Thank you.
We know emotions and animals or humans, we are all emotional beings. We have a social circle, we live in a social circle, we want relationships, we want bonding. When we want relationships and bonding, it's very natural that emotions will play a big role. And animals as such, they are social animals and they have chosen to be around humans. Through evolution, they have evolved and they have stayed around animals, cats and dogs, horses, cows, which are the domesticated animals, which are all since centuries, since years, hundreds of years, they have been coexisting with the humans in their very close surrounding. We have used animals as companions, we've used animals as for working and everything. So there's a relationship that's formed. So when a relationship is formed, that there is definitely an exchange. that is happening between the animal and the human. In the human exchange, it's very visual. We use all the senses are there. Even in the animal and the human, all the senses are playing a role.
Mhm.
Animals retain the looks in our face. They come to know, and the biggest thing that the animal has a sense of smell. It's a heightened sense of smell. So if a human is going through stress, there are certain chemicals that's getting produced in the body which an animal can smell. That's the reason the animals are used to detect diseases like cancer, even for detecting bombs and all those drugs and all. Why? Because of the special smell. So even when as a human, if I go through a situation in office, or maybe I had a conflict with someone and I come back home, my animal knows I am in stress because there are certain chemicals that's produced from my body. Similar in a way, in the same fashion, if I have gone through a very happy experience, the animal will also sense that. So the environment, when I talk about the environment for the animals, I play a role in that environment. So if the animal is happy, if I am happy, the animal is also going to pick up those happy hormones because he's smelling those hormones from me. That's the reason even in humans, when they get pregnant, the animal comes to know beforehand. They will start smelling the female, the human female also in specific places because they know there is a chemical change that is happening. I know of cases where the animal has come to know that the human is pregnant even before the human has come.
Wow. It feels as if हम इंसानों को स्माइल करके बोल सकते हैं we are okay, then we are not. But we cannot really be dishonest with our little pet because our pet doesn't just look at our expression, but also our voice tonality. But then also, what's amazing that they can also smell us and say कि कुछ तो गड़बड़ है बॉस, कुछ तो ठीक नहीं है या कुछ बहुत अच्छा हो रहे वाला है. And somewhere it feels as if we have left the sense of smell and only kept it for our food. खाने को जैसे smell करके हम बोलते हैं अच्छा है, नहीं अच्छा नहीं है. But maybe they are doing the same with us. So any idea, Aarti, why the smell is become more redundant in us as humans, but has become more heightened in animals, especially a dog?
The receptors that they have is much more higher than us, naturally made in such a way. Because for them, like for me, the eyes, as a human, for me, eyes are very important. It's equally important for an animal, but I see the world mostly from my eyes. Animals see the world from their nose. Everything is all about smell, be it cats or dogs.
Wow. I mean, I've never heard this concept that you see the world through your eyes or you see this world through the smell. And wow. And it's almost like so many words in our dictionary, like wellness. Ness is all about the smell, or illness, smell. It's like the smell of that disease or smell of being okay. And even though we are using it in our dictionary, we are not really connecting it with the smell as much. So, Aarti, let's move a little bit further. And how can you now connect the physical and emotional? And if you can give us some examples of how physical health and emotional health are interconnected, just give us a few of your case studies so we can come to know, अच्छा ऐसे है तो मतलब ये हो सकता है. Thank you.
So emotion is primary important. Whenever anyone comes to me with an animal's case, I first look, even if it's a physical issue, first you need to look at the emotion that's created. The disease itself speaks a lot to us. So as simple as a skin issue. When there is skin issue, we know there is redness, there is itching. These are the first things that we will look at an animal. So now we need to know what is the emotion that is creating the skin issues. Whenever there is skin issues, we know that the animal is not feeling safe and protected. This comes a lot from meta health, which I've put up a lot of meta health into my work, which helps me to understand more clearly what the animal is going through. If an animal is showing a behavior like anger, the animal tends to have a skin issue coming up. Skin issue comes in two issues: if there is anger or if there is a lot of stress. To give you an example of a dog where he was having a lot of skin issues, and because the emotion, what is actually happening, the animal is not being able to completely express itself. This is one layer of it. Okay, where the animal is not being able to express. The second layer of it, I need to see what is happening in the environment. Why is the animal feeling emotionally so vulnerable, or not feeling safe, not feeling protected, or feeling stressed out? Because there is something happening in either in the environment, there is a change happen. Now, change for me as a human could be a very small change, like there is a change in a servant, for example. But for that animal, it could be a big change because maybe he was really close to that servant, or it's someone he's seen since so many years coming in and coming out. So the animal is going to go through that change. We need to be as pet parents supportive to the animal, keep the animal busy, spend maybe more time with the animal, be there for the animal for, when we're taking for the walks and everything, so that he's able to the transition of the change is easy for them. Then obviously we've spoken to about bark flowers where we can support the animal. So,
Absolutely.
so that is here we see that there is a direct link with the emotional well-being and the physical well-being. So once I start correcting what is emotionally, the physical starts correcting. Anger is what? Anger is redness. So whenever there is redness in the skin, I will look at anger. Is there suppressed anger there? If the animal is itching a lot, then I need to see what is irritating the animal, because it's an irritation, it's an intolerance. Is there intolerance running in the family, or is there some intolerance behavior in the animal? An animal could be having a skin issue, and the behavior that he must be showing itching, plus he might show a behavior of intolerance, being little aggressive, being moody. So when the animal is being moody, there is a change in behavior. He's not constantly in that state. Then I might also see, is there a hormonal imbalance? Because when the hormones are not right, example is pseudo pregnancy, which is very common in dogs and cats. When an animal is going through pseudo pregnancy, which is a false pregnancy where the animal feels he's pregnant, she's pregnant, and the glands get filled with milk and everything, it's a hormonal imbalance, means the hormones are not really being, acting in the right manner. So that could again have an impact on the emotion. And I might feel as a pet parent who is not aware that why is my animal behaving so, moody. I'll give you an example of my own dog. She was going through a pseudo pregnancy. I took her for to a friend's house for, she had pets so that they can play. But and my dog has enjoyed her, outings over there. But what was my mistake that I took her during a pseudo pregnancy phase, thinking that okay, my intention was that her mood will change, but I didn't think that her mood is upset because of being in this hormonal change that her body is going through. And she was very temperamental. She was snapping. She wanted to be alone. She didn't want anyone by her side. And that's when I picked up, okay, this is where, so that's the awareness of a pet parent that needs to be. You need to see the animal as a whole, the whole picture. If there is a behavioral change, you need to look why is the behavioral change? Why is the animal behaving in this manner which he's not behaved? Animals who become aggressive all of a sudden. There is nothing that all of a sudden there is aggression. Behind aggression, there is always fear. Because the animals in the animal kingdom, especially, I have to show myself the stronger one. Because if I show I am the weaker one, I will be killed. That's the rule of the jungle. It's coming. It is there in their generations. This is the survival is there within ourselves also. That if there is a threat to our well-being, we will want to run away from it because of our brainstem. And the brainstem is there in us. The brainstem is there in the animal also.
So Anjana has a question. Anjana, please go ahead and read your question. Thank you.
Actually, my pet Glory, she is right now going through pseudo pregnancy, and she's off food. Very picky and choosy about her food. She will have only milk, or she'll have just rusk, and if she eats, it's only at night. Now, is there any back flower remedy that I can give? We took her to the vet. He said she's fine. She doesn't display any of the other issues when there's any physical, if there is any physical problems. All the symptoms are okay, but otherwise she is active. She doesn't mingle with any of the dogs. She keeps to herself. She needs a lot of care. So is there any backflow remedy that I can give? And another one is my pit bull. She developed some allergy in her ear. And I think because of too much of scratching or too much of shaking, blood is collected. Internal blood vessels, I think, capillaries or whatever it is, they're leaking. And it's like, a papadam now or puri. So the doctor is saying that it has to be operated upon. So any medicine that I can give, homeo or otherwise, that is before the operation and after, to enable, the speedy recovery and not the scarring. Usually the ears are supposed to end up looking disfigured then.
Thank you so much for those two questions. I will repeat the first one again for Aarti. Aarti, Anjana's Glory is going through pseudo pregnancy, and her baby is right now off foods, eats very little, and only eats at night. So she wants to know, is there any buckflower remedy for this or anything else that she can do? Doctors said that she's absolutely okay, but and all the parameters are fine. She's active, yet she can sense, Anjana can sense the discomfort of her baby and wants to know what to do about it. Thank you so much for that brilliant question. I will allow Aarti, please go ahead and answer this.
Thank you for this question, because this is the most common issue in the female dog through the pregnancy. Even if your dog is showing no symptoms as such, is okay, understand that pseudo pregnancies happen means there is a problem. It's a hormonal imbalance. It's not normal. So you need to, in the future, look into surgery, getting her neutered, because every heat she will go through this pseudo pregnancy. And if repeated time, if her body is going to go through pseudo pregnancy, there is a stress level, there is an effect on the organ that will start getting affected. And over a long term, they will get something called the pyometra, where the uterus gets filled with pus. Because if the medicines what the doctors will give you is to dry the milk. Otherwise, they turn into pus. And once it turns into pus, it can become very painful. So the very fact that first she has a hormonal imbalance, I'll give her in Bakla, which is called scleranthus.
Could you, Agam, could you please put the spelling down in the chat? Thank you.
Scleranthus, got it.
Yeah. So scleranthus is one thing which you will give her. You will also give her walnut, because walnut is for transition, for change, because her body is going through change. She's reached to age of puberty right now. And the body is swing, but scleranthus will definitely help her, because scleranthus is a remedy for any hormonal changes. Because what happens when there's a hormonal change? Because as we are speaking already about emotions, it's very the person who is into a scleranthus state will be oscillating between this and that. So the body is confused, doing this, doing that. I'm pregnant, I'm not pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm not pregnant. And because of that, scleranthus will help. So the animal's behavior will also change with scleranthus. But definitely in the long run, you really need to look at getting her this thing, because pyometra can become life-threatening.
Thank you for that.
She's delivered twice.
Yeah, so it's a good time. If she's already delivered, it's good to get her, because they're very prone to pyometra. They're very prone to uterus cancer also. So as a precaution, it was always better to, if she's already gone through 2 litters, it's a good thing to get her neutered. As far as eating food, obviously because she's going through so much changes in her body, she might not feel hungry. It's again mood changes, behavior changes are there. Also the temperature right now, that also adds up because of the heat. So there will be more this thing that I don't feel like eating. So you can give her something to cool down. Maybe, give her iced watermelon, or you can just take chicken stock and freeze it and make it into ice cubes. Give her something that will cool her system.
She's not eating non-veg. She doesn't like non-veg.
Yeah, so then give her dahi chas. You can give her fruits. You can take cubes of watermelon and freeze it, chill it, and then give it. Or take out the pulp of fruits and make it into ice cubes and give her that.
Papaya also. Papaya also?
Yeah.
She loves papaya.
Yeah, you can give her that.
Actually, her mother, Sandy, she is the one who is having this ear infection. And plus, she also goes through pseudo pregnancy. So I think both of them, it's better.
Yes.
And for Sandy, anything to apply on the ears so that...
See, if there is an issue, is there a gunk in the ears? Is there muck in the ears again and again?
No, it's just that this portion is all squished up, like when you get hives, you find that
but
everything...
Before this happened, did she have a ear which she had ear infections? Was she prone to ear infections?
Not ear infection. She had a fight with her daughter Glory, and this area was completely torn.
Oh, okay.
So we cannot go near her at that time because it was very painful. I'm sure some blood must have gone
in. So
in.
what happens when they keep flipping their ears again and again like that? And if it's repeatedly happening? See, that is normal. The dogs do the shaking of their body and of their head to jerk out the excess energy. But when an animal is going through this repeatedly again and again, if there is not a fight, if there is a ear infection repeatedly again, the animal keeps doing this. If it's too frequently, what happens when they do this? The nerves, they have a very thin nerves. And that keeps on kind of building pressure. When the pressure starts getting built up over there, they get this kind of thing where the whole thing starts swelling up. It's like a pressure getting built up. And then you have to do a surgery in that. The animal will be in pain in that. So the surgery is better because then, see, the ears are very connected to the brain. So understand the pain that he's going to go through, and there is a probability for that nerve to burst. That is the reason the vet suggests let's do a surgery rather than that getting go, because the pressure is building there.
Yes, it's at 5:30 today. So nothing to apply. Nothing to apply there.
It will be anyways packed up.
Yeah.
After it. So anyways, when the wound has to dry. Once the wound has dried up and everything, then you can look at it, what needs to be applied. But as a bark fly, you can definitely give her rescue remedy.
Okay, and this Cloranthus and walnut, 30 ml of rescue, plus how many drops of Cloranthus and walnut?
You can put three drops.
And rescue is 30 ml.
Yeah.
And give her twice?
4 times is a minimum dose. So if she is going through pseudo pregnancy, when she's going through it, I will give it to her 6 times a day.
Thank you so much. This was godsend.
You're welcome.
Honestly, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Anjana, and thank you, Aarti, for such amazing, connect. Let's go to the next question. And is there anybody who wants to ask other questions? Everybody else is very, very quiet on the forum. Anu, Veena, Bhavna, Bela, any questions that you want to ask? It would be wonderful if I could see your faces. Everybody's like, not there. No questions? Okay, let's go further. So Aarti, we were talking about stress in animals, and we also spoke about stress and how stress can again impact every bit of the animal, including a human being. Like the hormonal changes can be connected with the stress. It can be that the mother herself is going through, the pet mother is going through, the human mother is going through her own stories where the babies are going and she wants to nurture them. And that could also be looked into in the pseudo pregnancy. But if we were to just look at the stresses on the whole, and we humans often are not even aware of our stresses. We don't even allow ourselves to, किसी को बोलो ना आपको stress हो गया तो they look at you and say, कौन सा stress, क्या stress? How do you then understand what are the stresses going on with an animal who can't even talk? And what kind of stresses can they go through? Thank you.
The first change will be the behavior. But what happens, we don't really notice the behavioral change until it's become like a loud alarm. So we have to be very observant what our animal is and what the animal is not, and so that we can fill that gap up, we can understand the gap. To fill it up with an example, for example is my cat. She came into my life, and after I think she was 6 months, yeah, 6 to 8 months old, is where I got another kitten. Now that was stressful for her. There was a change in her behavior. She would, not where she would come and sleep with me. She stopped coming to sleep with me. She wanted to be, if that kitten was in the room, she would not want to be. So these are small, subtle changes which I need to be aware that my cat is not okay with.
So it's like sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
They're both fighting with each other.
Initially not fighting, because when you are introducing an animal which is really not spoken about, we do a lot of rescue work and everything, and situations are like that where an animal has to be got into a space. But when two animals are being introduced, there has to be a specific way to introduce the animal, because we have to understand animals by nature are very territorial. Dogs are also territorial, but some dogs are more tolerant. Some dogs, again, here is again all about personality. But in cats specifically, they are not very tolerant to another cat if it's not from the same litter. So the introduction has to be such a way that the animals do not see each other face to face. What I need to first introduce is the smell of the animal. And we do not do that. And obviously, I also didn't do that. Because that animal was a rescue, he would have died on the streets. I had to get him home. I could not get a smell and, expect we don't live in those kind of houses where we can facilitate an animal in one space and another animal in another space. So the introduction, if it goes really wrong, it can have an impact on an animal. That becomes a very stressful thing for an animal that who's been in that space, because now he's sharing that space with another animal who's smelling very differently.
So Arti, if I bring, I've often seen when my daughter comes from UK, my Luna does not allow her to even sit on the bed where Arjun, that's my son, sits. She will not let her move in the house. So wherever Divya is sitting, it's like she comes and she will bark and she will tell her to get up because this is her brother's place, or this is her father's place, or this is her mother's place. If such a thing happens, what do you do?
Nothing, just let it be, let the animal be, because the animal is showing something which he's not liking. And it's okay, we need to honor them also. It's not always all about what I feel and what I feel is right. We need to honor our animals. What we do is we feel that we need to control them. But if we start honoring them, the partnership between the human and the animal can really be very wonderful.
Wonderful. And at this point, I'm asking everybody again, is there any question that you have? We are exactly at 1:42. We have 15 minutes more of this lovely lady with us. And if you have any specific questions, yes, Anjana. Thank you.
My Blaze, my brother has come on leave and he's seeing him for the first time. And what you said is exactly happening. In fact, he attacked him. He didn't, all the other three dogs have adjusted to him, but he is the only one who barks and says, who is this? Why are you here? So
would that be the reason that she's not eating?
See, there's a very interesting aspect about animals. Each animal will take a responsibility up in the house. So if you have multiple animals, you'll be able to pick up certain things. Like one animal will be there that I will protect. One animal will be that he needs to go to the door and bark. One animal will be that I'm just going to sit in my place, do nothing but observe everything that's happening at home. So they take up these roles, these duties on themselves, that they're supposed to do that. So probably that dog has taken up that duty of being the master of, being the headmaster, you can say.
Amazing, amazing. The things that we never knew about, this is so amazing. Anybody has a question at this point? Okay, or a sharing. You don't have to have a question. You have a sharing. We would love to hear from you. If you can relate to any of this, and it could be that your experience adds on to the, to this whole session. Anything. Okay. I don't even know what Anu, Bela, Veena, no camera. Okay. Anjana says, Blaze is the protector, Glory is the attacker, Sandy is the guard, and Sundari, the love of us all. Wow. So we know how her dogs have really taken the roles. It's something like human beings taking the roles at home. Is that so, Aarti?
Yes.
And wow. So it's almost like having other human beings at home. Now, similarly, if I go out of the house and I'm out, let's say, for a whole day, not even for the whole day, at 7 o'clock in the evening, I leave and I say to her, I'm going to my mom's house. You need to be here taking care of Bhaiya, taking care of Didis and everything. And I'm going to my mom's house. Don't worry, I'm coming back tomorrow. I do have a dialogue with her. I don't know how much she understands. But normally the information that I get, if it goes beyond that much of time, and I come back instead of morning, I come back, let's say the evening, she stops eating. She's crying. If I want to travel, how do I travel then?
We have to inform our animals. Even if I'm going for 10 days, I will tell my animal I'm going for 10 days. Plus, I will always support them with bark flowers. Bark flowers is my key to everything mostly, because that will really support them, because they are going to go through changes. They're going to go through setbacks. They're going to go through a different change in environment. There are people who leave their pets at, at a shelter or at, some places. So you need to then first go look at those places, whether it is something which you are comfortable, which your animal will be comfortable. It's very important that we make sure that the space that we're keeping our animals is a safe space for them. If your animal is not a one who likes to have too many animals around them, and then subjecting the animal to a place where there is filled with, even if there are 3 or 4 animals in that space, but your animal has been an animal who has been only the sole animal at home, and now you're subjecting him to an environment where there are 3 or 4 dogs, that could be stress, a huge stress. Plus, you are not there visually, you are not there smell wise, you are not there. The environment is not there.
Aarti, I will often, if I leave her, I will leave both my maids with her. And there will be one family member at least there, either my son or my husband. And yet it feels as if it's very difficult to leave and go, because of what reports I get back is, oh, khana band kar diya hai, ro raha hai bachcha. That's a very hard thing to take. Now, is it my issue or is it really her issue at this point?
It is both. See, when we move out from the space from our pets, we are also stressed about them. They pick up our energy also, and they are also attached. If your pet is very attached to you, then definitely this is something called a separation anxiety, which is happening. Then the people who are at home, they need to kind of keep the animal indulged in certain things. Like my dog is very attached to my elder sister. But when she is not there, we make sure that, we'll take her for an extra walk. We will play with her extra. We might take her to the beach, because those are the things that she loves, which we are not doing maybe every day, but then those are the special things we'll do. So it's a way of distracting the mind, keeping the mind busy, and doing something which is out of the regular routine for them. That's a change for them also, because then that's the coping mechanism for them also.
Absolutely.
So you always have to find a way to, and obviously leave something. Leave something that smells of you.
Okay.
That always works.
Okay, that's a great idea. I mean, I can always leave a worn t-shirt. It doesn't have to be washed.
It doesn't have to be washed, because once you wash it, your smell goes from it. It has to have your smell. So don't wash it and put it.
Got it. So can you give me a little bit around the senior pets? I mean, what is it about senior pets? How can we take care of them? Are their emotions kind of different? Is their dependency on us kind of different? Are their stresses different? Thank you so much, Aarti.
So senior pets, we need to understand, if an animal has stayed with you for many years and now he's getting older, Now there is a reversible of role where the animal, when in the younger age, is really given us so much. He's filled us up with so many things. Now it's that time of his age where we need to fill up for him more, because there will be issues with his health which could come up. We need to look at the health. We have to monitor the health. Diet could be changed. There could be changes in the diet, or the animal might continue to be in the same diet also. But obviously, according to the medical needs, we need to change the diet. Their movements could become slower. So instead of doing walks, which was for 1 hour, the animal might maybe doing for 10, 15 minutes walk, or maybe the pace will be reduced. So we need to understand and we need to support the animal. Now, in the animal world, what is most common health issue that comes with old age, which is also a common thing in humans, is flexibility issues with the bones and the joints, which also is very common in animals. In some senior pets, there is also a problem where the animal is not able to walk that much. The heart is getting affected, the body is getting older. So we need to understand these aspects when we are taking care of a senior pet. There could be issues with, urine issues. There could be issues with constipation. It's exactly like an old person that you're caring for.
It's like us older adults, guys, how we are slowing down slightly and we are trying to rejuvenate ourselves with so many things, and Get Set Up is taking very good care of us. We need to set up pets, senior pets, to get set up and ourselves right here so that we can educate ourselves, and all the problems that we have in our fitness could then be identical problems that our pets could go through. So I find this very fascinating that, the animal and the human being are so identical. And yet the way we've always perceived an animal is so very different, that we've kind of looked at them as if they come from a different space or a different planet altogether. And that's how I saw. A little bit around Aarti, when we are scared of a pet, if we are scared of an animal, and how our reactions can impact their reactions. If you can guide us through this, because I know I've been through that stage where I was very, very scared, and I know how animals would react to me. And now that I'm not scared and I know exactly the difference, but from an expert like you, if I get it, that would be brilliant. Thank you.
So this is something which I already told. When I am fearful, I will be giving out certain chemicals from my body, certain smells. So when you are fearful, your animal can smell you're fearful. So, and what happens as humans, if I'm getting scared, and especially if I'm scared of a dog or of a cat, and I'm already smelling of that fear, the animal is yet coming closer to me to smell me, I'm going to shout and yell. My body language is going to change. My expression is going to change. So the animal is seeing the whole.
It's like my nervous system is like this on a fire, and they pick up that so much, and they sense that as danger, and so they are screaming because they are also sensing that we are not fine. Wow, I mean, that's just amazing. So a little bit around Aarti, if you can give us, we still have about 2 minutes for this. If you can tell us a little bit more, what can be done? Now, we looked at the problems in the senior pets are the same. But ऐसा क्या कर सकते हैं? Is there any buckler treatments that can be given? Is there anything that can be specifically done? We can make those senior pets a little bit more comfortable. Thank you.
When we're talking about senior pets, one most important thing is we need to let them rest. We cannot just tell them, come on now, play with me, and my dog is not behaving the way the dog. We have to slow it down with them. We need to slow it down with them, as far as even walks, as far as even their playing and everything. We need to see that even if my dog loves to play a ball, a fetch ball is so commonly used that we should just throw the ball, the animal should fetch and come. But we need to understand our houses have tiles. When we're playing something like a fetch and we're throwing the ball and the animal is picking up, he's not getting the grip. And when the animal has become old and you're going to be playing this, it's more worse impact on his joints. That's the reason always have carpeted areas. You can have those yoga mats, the rubber ones, because that gives them proper tactile information on the feet. So you need to learn to slow it down. One very most important thing is when you have a senior pet, don't get a younger pet into your house at that time, because that's the conflict here. Because one's energy is so high and the other's energy is really very distinct. And being a puppy, that he is going to behave like a puppy. He will jump on the elder one. They will be tolerant, but there will be a stress on the body which you're not able to see the stress.
I just feel like laughing here. Our families are full of different kind of people who are young and people who are very old. And I'm like really looking at this point and saying, could that be impacting us human beings also in some form or the other? Because what the younger one may want may be so different from what an older person in the house may want, and an area of complete conflict. Over here, Anjana has come up with a question, and thank you, Anjana, for that question. Would you like to ask it yourself? That would be so much better. Why don't I bring you in the screen? Yes.
Actually, when dogs come to attack you, they say that you should not run. Besides that, is there anything that you should do so that you're not mauled, or anything that you can do, emergency sort of? What is the precautions that we could? My son is saying, pray to God. Any other precautions we can take?
Before the situation comes, we already know the situation is going to come. So first is avoidance.
No, you go to a house, you do not know. They don't have a board saying that dog is there. No, beware of dogs. So in such cases where you're caught off guard, first tendency is to flee, and they can always outrun us. So is there
First, you need to pause and let the animal smell you. Because the animal first initially comes to smell you only. So you need to first stand and let the animal smell. What happens is when I'm already fearful and I am going to a space where they say you're going to someone's house and you just ring the bell. First of all, the ringing the bell only itself is a reaction that the dog is going to give, come running to the dog. It's a very natural thing which a dog does. We have to let the animal smell. If it is the first of all the duty of the pet parent to keep you aware, and even if it's not kept you aware, to tell you on the gate, they need, because they know what exactly the dog is. If a dog is the one who's going to jump on someone or is going to, is temperamental already, there is a change that's happening in that animal's environment, or he's going through his own emotional and physical issues. The pet parent knows, so it's first the responsibility of the pet parent to keep you informed. So if I have a dog who is very reactive, and I'm going to keep my dog, even if someone comes, let my dog jump on it, it is my responsibility to correct that. Before the people come at home, place my dog into a room where let the animal take something and let him smell if he's not feeling safe with another person coming in. These are certain things. But if you're on the road and you are going through this thing, and if you see a dog coming, I first change my direction. At humans, first of all, what we do is we feel every dog is friendly and we want to touch every dog. We need to understand their personalities, their packs in certain areas. Certain dogs do not like to be touched, but because we love dogs so much, we think every dog likes to be touched, so let me go and pet him. And you don't know what the behavior, what the temperament of the dog is. And then you get bitten and then we blame the dog. So we need to first, have a protocol within ourselves that we do not need to touch each and every dog. We do not ask permission from anyone. We find we love dogs so much. We're so obsessed with dogs that we see a dog. And I have done it. I'm not saying that we don't do it. We all do it. But then the awareness has to come that a dog might not be a dog who likes to be touched. Now, I know many pet parents, when I ask them, oh, this house, about the dog, if I go for a walk and everything, it's become now my job to ask whether he likes to be touched, whether he's a friendly dog or he's not a friendly dog. So you can avoid a lot of things, what we say, precautions better than care.
Thank you. Because in the office, I was faced by these dogs, pack of.
Anjana, your voice has got, we couldn't hear you.
I was chased by dogs, a pack in the office. But luckily, for me, it was lucky. I did not react and I just continued to walk, and they just, after some time, they left me. So that is when I was like, at home, yes, you can control, but outside, it's not in our hands.
It's always change your direction.
Oh, okay.
Because you know from a distance, when you're walking, you're knowing from a distance there is a pack.
Huh.
Because certain places have certain animals, have certain packs. Certain places, the animals are friendly, but you're not aware of it. Even if they are packed, they might be friendly. There are packs there that they're not really friendly. Because there, again, why they are not friendly is you have to understand. Maybe the exposure, the experience with humans have not been really great. Because in many areas we know the dogs are kicked, they're beaten up, they're not, so they have to be strong. It's a jungle for them.
Street dogs, they're always given the raw end. Like they run after when you are on the scooter, they chase you.
Because there's something moving, they actually try to run behind with something moving.
Yes. Thank you so much. And yes, I made the mistake of getting a pet when my senior pet was 10 years. I got this Sandy, who was a bundle of energy. And poor chap, he died within 1 month. So I learned it the hard way.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
He was a darling. Even the doctors who came to treat him, they said they've never ever come across such a great, majestic, pet.
I think we are great to have such animals in our lives. I strongly believe the animals are higher souls that come into our life to really teach us. If they are not the smaller ones, they are really higher souls which are there.
They are.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I extremely thank you for asking that question and sharing that, Anjana. That is, I could feel in my heart. We have come, we've busted the time, and I really need to read the last slides. And I really need to thank our beautiful Aarti. Aarti, do you have last words to say to everyone before I do the last slides?
I want to thank everyone for for being there. Because if you all are there, we are definitely going to create a different world for the animals. And it really feels nice that there are so many people who love animals and care them, and they're really ready to see animals from a different eyes. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. And so we've come to the end of the session, and whatever happened, my slides are not showing right now. Just give me a second, please. This happens at times, so I'm just going to go with just. Please give me a second. Thank you. Otherwise, you'll sense my panic, and that's not good. Okay, so let's leave the slides. Maybe they're not supposed to come up, and that's how I've always believed, that something that's not there is not required right now. And what's really more important is that you take down, we were on this beautiful platform of Get Set Up, and we did do a lot of beautiful things today by getting to know about our pets, and right from the junior pets to the senior pets, we went through the whole spectrum and through the stress and what do we eat, what do we do for the animal. I really want to thank each and every one of you over here who was here and who has left already. I want to give you guys Aarti's contact list so that you could connect with her, because next month we are not bringing in any pet topics. So it would be nice if you can have her connect. Her Insta Connect handle is capital D, Divine Pets as one word, Divine Pets as one word, underscore Aarti Desai, Aarti with double A, A for Anu, again, R for rat, T for tap, I for India, D for dog, E for egg, S for Simla, A for Anu, and I for India. She also has a Facebook page which you can connect with. It's called Divine Pets. Divine is normal spelling of divine with pets, and it's one word. Okay. I would say that please do send me the feedback for today's session. Your feedback is extremely important for us and for both of us, in fact, so that we can come to know how did you rate the session, what happened, did you like what we brought to you, and was this effort worth it? So give us a feedback so that we know really how things are with you. If you like something, please do go on Explore and click on Explore to find other classes that are something that you really enjoy. If you have a story to tell us, please do go at social@getsetup.in. You can also write about the session and add a tag for Get Set Up as #GetSetUp or @GetSetUp. We are always wanting you to be empowered, and we want you to be connected and become an ambassador. If you have a talent, please showcase it and do connect with help@getsetup.io. So thank you very much, each and every one of you. Thank you, Aarti, once again. Thank you, Agam. And thank you, each and every one of you, for being here. Love you. Stay happy. Stay with your pets and stay in the warmth that you get from the higher beings. Love you all. Bye.